Welcome back. All right, quick news video for all you fine people on the internet for your Sunday, August the 24th. Starting off at the top of the board. So we're getting closer to training camps. We're a few weeks out from training camps. And so the questions start to get asked about extension talks, right? Philip Gustavsson is open to having discussions of an extension with the Minnesota Wild as soon as possible. Don't be surprised when extensions start coming out over the next couple of weeks. It means that players don't have that hanging over their heads. And general managers don't need to worry about that for next summer if they get the contract signed now. So we'll see how many extensions we end up with over the next couple of weeks. My guess is it'll be a handful. So Luke Kunin was signed to a one-year contract by the Florida Panthers. This was shortly after the last news video that I posted. I did not feel that warranted its own news video. It's a $775,000 cap hit for Luke Kunin, as the Florida Panthers are going to be looking for stopgaps while Matthew Tkachuk is out. Reportedly, he has had surgery. That was always the speculation. And the return time for that surgery, it may keep him out until January. I would not be surprised to see him come back, I'd say a couple weeks before the Olympic break, because obviously he's not going to want to miss those Olympics. So that's where, when you're scheduling surgery, that's what you'd be focused on if you're Matthew Tkachuk. So everybody will be all mad about the LTIR system, but this is what LTIR is for, is so that a player like Tkachuk can go on LTIR. And for this last season only, that entire LTIR cap hit goes off the books and Florida can add. That changes next summer. We'll get into what happens in the 2026-2027 season soon enough. But for this season and the playoffs, the LTIR system that people do not generally love that much, it is still in effect for this one last season. The World Cup is going to be in 2028. So the 2026 Olympics are the big thing. Apparently, they're still going to have an All-Star weekend in 2027. That's going to be interesting because we know that after Four Nations and now we're going to have Olympics, fans are going to get kind of spoiled with this international hockey, and I think it's going to hurt the ratings for the All-Star game off of where they already were. However, Bill Daly is saying the plan is for the World Cup to include 8 teams, so 8 countries, with games being played both in North America and Europe. So this is going to be more World Cup feeling than previous World Cups necessarily had. They're hoping to announce the host cities for this World Cup before the end of this season upcoming. So by the end of the 25-26 season, they're hoping to have the host cities announced. It sounds like I would think probably 2 cities, but maybe you go to 4, but probably 2 cities. 4 countries on one side of the ocean and 4 countries on the other. Also, the 84-game season will cut out a week of the preseason starting next year. And that 84-game schedule, also the speculation by Bill Daly is we might see the season end a little bit earlier. Remember, it is a 3-week break they're taking for the Olympics this year. So you take that 3-week break out, you have the regular season start about a week or 2 earlier. We might be taking a look at a Stanley Cup that gets awarded, even if it's just a week sooner than it has been recently. I think that'd be nice just to have that break between the Stanley Cup and the draft, and some sort of break there too, because then you got free agency right after. We've had seasons of recent history where these things will occur within days of one another. So Stanley Cup's awarded, 3 days later you got the draft, and a few days after that you've got free agency. It's a lot all at once. The NHL would be wise to drag that out just a little bit and have the Stanley Cup awarded at least, I'd say, a week earlier. Frank Nazar saying all the right things after signing his extension with the Chicago Blackhawks. He also has an eye towards the U.S. Olympic team. He was amongst the invites. I don't think he makes it, but it's great experience for him to be able to go to the orientation camp. And he says his motivation is staying the same. So basically there's no lack of hunger in him for improvement this season. He had a very strong finish to the 2024-2025 season. He wants to pick up where he left off, and he says he wants to basically go out there and prove that his contract's a bargain and he's worth every penny. So Nazar, with saying all the right things after signing his well-paid contract extension, which kicks in, of course, next year. The regular season now sits 44 days away. So 44 more days where I will find various video topics that I'm sure will make the internet mad. I got kind of a kick out of the one I did yesterday where I thought, a 36-team league is kind of interesting to discuss and the entire conversation was just everything's too watered down. I'm not talking about pros and cons of expansion. I was just putting on the board 36 teams. I wasn't getting into the pros, and that's why I didn't get into how expansion would work or anything. But at any rate, the National Hockey League makes that call. I do not. So any comments and complaints directed towards me don't really go anywhere because I don't have any connection with the National Hockey League. I don't have any say in anything. And I clearly don't have any influence. Have you seen how my teams perform in the playoffs? If anything, the NHL sees that I root for a team and goes, well, they're not going to get anything done in the playoffs, are they? So, at any rate, there you go. But thank you guys so much for all your attention and all of your viewing pleasure. I hope that you derive from watching these videos. Obviously, over the last week and a bit, I have been a bit distracted. People know why and all that, and I'd like to thank you guys for your support throughout. And working definitely helps. This is a time period where it feels like the work is keeping my brain, from having any sort of meltdowns or anything. And at any rate, thank you guys so much for that. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That being said, I am done for now. We'll see if there's any news that comes out, but we're in the very quiet period of the off season where there's really very, very little going on. And even the rumor sites start to have trouble because now they double back onto the same stuff they've already talked about before, where they have maybe some updates on those trade rumors that nothing's happened with for the last 6 weeks. Anyways, there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We're about 6 weeks from the start of the regular season, meaning we're only a few weeks from training camp. Looking forward to that and covering it for all you fine people on the internet. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you again soon.